Okay.
Can't believe you're so nervous. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey folks, welcome to Elements to Analyze with
Kevin.
and Leah.
This is our first episode.
Okay, can we start over? Can we do that again?
No, we're doing
please,
this. No,
please,
Leah,
please,
you're going to
please.
keep doing this?
No,
We're doing it.
I promise I swear.
No,
I
we're
pinky swear.
doing it.
No!
Alright, tell us a little bit about yourself, Leah.
Okay. Hey folks, welcome to...
Go. Go.
Right.
Look how fun we are.
Okay. Hey folks, welcome to Elements to Analyze with...
Kevin.
And Leah.
I didn't know we were starting over.
Okay, so Kevin and Leah here today talking about our experience in graduate school, our experience in education, our experience in life.
No, what was the tagline? It's chemistry,
Education, and beyond.
And beyond.
But
was
I think
it really
I think
beyond?
it should be more chemistry, education, graduate school, and beyond.
Okay. I thought there was... Beyond sounds kind of lame. Because I kind of feel like Buzz Lightyear. Like, we have to say, that should be the theme song. And beyond! It's like, so maybe we'll think about that.
No,
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Chemistry?
Okay, well, it'll make more sense once we talk about ourselves, I guess.
Okay, Kevin, tell me about yourself.
My name's Kevin.
Hunter.
I'm
Kevin
from...
Qatar Hunter.
I hate you. It's the first fucking episode and you already did that? We're allowed to curse,
Guys,
right?
did you know that Kevin went to...
Are we allowed to curse? If we put this in YouTube, we can curse, I think.
No, because it could come back to haunt us. Like, if one of us runs for office.
People curse.
No, but if one of us runs for public office...
Are you serious?
Which I'm likely to do...
Are we beeping out stuff?
Should we?
No.
No.
Okay.
Fuck.
All right, so what's my the rundown on Kevin?
Yeah.
I'm from Dallas, Pennsylvania, which is the middle of nowhere.
You know what you should do? I should describe you and you should describe me.
I think you're going to do a better job, though, so I don't want to do that. Because I'll feel bad. Okay, because I'll only say one thing.
No,
That's all I would say. Okay. Yeah, I'm from Dallas, Pennsylvania. I grew up there my whole life. That didn't make any sense. I was there until I was 18. I went to college at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh for 4 years. I studied chemistry. I worked there a little bit afterwards, teaching in chemistry in like a chem lab. I then moved to Qatar.
No, but you left out the best part. Kevin has his master's.
Oh, yeah, I got a master's too. And then I moved to Qatar for 2 years where I also taught chemistry at CMU, but it was just CMU in Qatar. And then during the second year I was there, I applied to grad school, and now I'm at the University of Iowa in Iowa City, Iowa.
52242.
No, I'm 52246. All right, Leah, what about you?
I'm Leah Jinhee Charlotte. I grew up in northern Kentucky. I went to college at the College of Worcester in Worcester, Ohio. Yeah, and I'm one of those, like, go straight from undergrad to graduate school types, so I didn't have any, like, what?
One of those?
Yeah.
I think you could just say, I came to grad school afterwards. All right, continue.
No,
sorry. I'm
'cause,
sorry.
you know,
This is your
sometimes-
narrative. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You go.
Like, I didn't have, a cool teaching abroad experience.
Are you
like some
serious right
people.
now?
So I have...
So you just got out of undergrad last year?
I literally just graduated not even a year ago.
And now you are?
Now I am in the chemistry PhD program at the University of Iowa, Iowa City, Iowa. And yeah, that's how me and Kevin met.
Because we're both in Is it I still didn't get an answer on this. Is it chemistry or chemical education?
Nicole thinks it's chemistry education.
But you don't think it...
No, I think it is. Nicole likes it as chemistry.
But I've seen in, like, some places it's chemical... Like, it was some legitimate place still listed as, like, chemical education.
Yes.
So, which I was confused about.
I talked to someone about the difference between chemistry education and chemical education.
Okay.
And I believe chemistry education is is the study of studying how students learn chemistry, and chemical education is, or maybe it's backwards. Maybe chemical education is the education of chemistry. Chemistry education is the study of how students learn chemistry. That's
Crazy.
That's what.
So there's actually a difference.
I believe there's actually a difference, and our advisor Nicole Becker,
Dr. Nicole Becker.
Dr. Nicole Marie Becker. She prefers chemistry, but she
education.
also said
it does sound more legit. I don't know why.
Chemistry education?
I think chemistry, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because of Shelley with the music therapy and, like, musical therapy. That's in my head what I likened it to.
But
so I don't know.
Chemical education makes me think of, like, medical education. Like,
interesting.
You are just, like, learning, like, it is the study of chemistry.
Oh.
That's what
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
like a medical education. That makes sense.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so we're both in
Chem
PhD, yeah, so, like, we're doing chem ed research.
Mm-hmm.
What's chem ed research? I recently, like, it's still funny to me, like, when we say it. Like, I was at the dentist, like, a week ago, and even they, since they're, like, vaguely scientific, they're like, oh, I know what you, like, do.
Yeah.
And they, like, try to, like, I'm like, so, and even them, like, they've gone through it, and, like, so what do you do with that? I'm like, do I really have to do this and tell you, like, what I'm going to do later in life?
It's so annoying.
Because I usually just tell people that I want to teach, and I think what's the issue is that they don't understand, like, they think, oh, why not just get a PhD anyway, and then you could just go teach. Like, they still don't see the value in
Correct.
the difference.
Yeah. I think the main thing that people don't understand, though, is when we say we do chemistry education research, I think they think that we're studying on how to be better teachers.
Yeah.
But that's not, like, really what we're going for.
That's true.
You know?
I think maybe I'm part of the problem, because
so.
I still say that. Do you?
That what? That
like,
you're studying how...
Yeah, it's like a quick way to say, like, oh, what is chemistry education?
Well, I always say I'm studying the way students are learning, or I study how students are learning chemistry, and how we can develop curriculum and change, like, pedagogical, like,
That's a long
tactics
sentence.
To help them learn better. I never have said I want to be a better teacher, because I don't think that, like, I don't think
it doesn't translate necessarily.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. It's not.
Like, if we want to do that, we should be in the education department, you know?
But is that what they do too? I've always wondered about that. Did you look at ed programs at all?
No. Yes. Science education.
And what would it be, a PhD in ed?
Essentially, yeah. Like,
okay.
I looked at MATs, so, like, Masters of Arts in Teaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why not? Do you remember why? Like, why did it not? Why did you decide against? Did you end up applying to any or no?
Yeah, I applied to one at Illinois, and that's it. And then there's one at, like, in a small college in my hometown. But, like, I feel like the difference there is that, like, it's more like classroom management, or, like, like, you're learning how to be an effective teacher in the classroom, not necessarily the tools behind what makes
or, like, the content knowledge and things like that.
I think are equally important, but that's just not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I don't know.
What?
I just feel like it's hard for people to grasp the idea that chemistry education isn't, we want to be better teachers, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's like a hopeful byproduct, but it's not the main focus. Like, we're interested in, like, I think what you said is a good summation, like how they're learning, and then what we could do to change that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't think about that too hard. Maybe next time we should Google that before we do this.
I think so.
And I don't want to sit here and just clickety-clack away on the keyboard to Google it, so I'm not going to do that.
Pause.
Okay.
So we
That's
are
why we're here.
both chemistry education researchers at the University of Iowa in graduate school.
We're first years.
First years.
So we finished our first semester.
Yeah, how'd that go?
I think it was fine. Was it what you expected?
Yes and no. Like, yes, I was expecting all of the work that came with it, but I wasn't expecting me to have such a hard time balancing everything, which I don't think you had a problem with. Like, you just seem to be like, oh, like, everything's fine, I have time to cook, like.
That's what, I really felt like it was just grad school and cooking was my life.
Yeah.
And it still kind of is. And not that I'm, like, sad about it. But no, I think I see the difference. And, like, my grandparents called the other day, and they're like, so how'd it go? And I think a lot of it's just because I am not coming out of undergrad. Because I remember what it was like to just be out of undergrad. And if I had to do both of these at the same, like if I had to do grad school and just be out of undergrad, it would have been a lot harder for sure. I think post undergrad is difficult as a time.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky that I'm not doing both of those things at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel like your early 20s is like the hardest time I think in your life. Because
It's pretty, yeah, I think it's difficult.
it's just such a huge transition between undergrad and
Yeah.
whatever.
And I think grad school is probably it eases you into adult life because you're still a student. Like it's not a stark transition, but it's still a transition.
Right. Yeah. So
Kind
just
of
balancing everything I think was hard.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing that I need to, but not even just balancing school stuff, because we have research, we have classes, and we have teaching.
Yeah.
But so balancing those three things I think was okay, but it was balancing like your own personal life, like
And those three things.
That was what is hard, and I think it's not going to be.
It's always a work in progress for sure. What part was difficult? Like stopping the work to do personal things?
I think stopping the personal life to do work things.
Oh.
Yeah. But it wasn't even like, I'm not like busy all the time with everything. It's like knowing that I shouldn't just sit in bed until 10 o'clock or whatever, you know what I mean? And whatever,
Like getting used to adult life, effectively?
Yeah. So I think that was hard. But I think it is a lot easier now.
Wait, because this is your first time at all living in not a dorm?
Correct.
Wow.
Or my, home.
Or home.
Yeah.
Not even, over the summer or anything? What about summers? I never asked you about your summers. You just a baddie in the summer and you don't do anything?
I was a complete baddie. I was a happy baddie.
Oh, no, you did camp. Okay, no, you did camp.
Okay, but I have never been in a situation that forced me to be completely, on my own.
Because... Yeah, what's that called?
First summer, I was a research assistant at Worcester, so I lived in a dorm over the summer.
Okay.
Second summer, I taught in Denver, lived in a dorm with other teaching fellows, same age as me, in a dorm. And then this past summer, I was at camp. I was in a little cabin.
Wait, that's you skipped a summer, I think. Oh, wait, no, I guess not.
The first summer, freshman year, I just worked at Chipotle. Eat Chipotle.
You can't do that! Unless, what if we got Chipotle to sponsor? I honestly, that would be I don't know what it is, but I'm very, very much in love with Chipotle.
Me too.
I know I shouldn't be that much because it's not...
No, it's amazing.
You think?
So good, yeah. And being in Iowa City, so Iowa City has now Poncheros, I think.
Is that is that regional?
I didn't have it when
I never... Pancheros? Poncheros. Pancheros. Got it.
Poncheros.
No, I did not have a Chipotle. I didn't have Chipotle until I was 18 years old. There's should we list? Maybe I should make a list of the things I didn't have or know about until I was 18.
Like riding a bike.
That hurt. I knew what a bike was. No, I tried.
This is a bicycle.
But Indian food.
That's so sad.
I definitely had not had naan bread until I was 18 or 19.
Naan what?
Naan, bread.
Oh, naan.
The bread.
I thought you meant bread. I was Dallas, Pennsylvania.
But yeah, definitely not Chipotle. And then here's Leah, who's the Chipotle theme song writer.
That's right. It's on YouTube. Plug, plug, plug.
I don't think you're supposed to say plug, plug, plug. Okay.
Kevin.
Yeah. What
is one of the biggest challenges you faced coming to grad school from Qatar?
Do you have to say it like that?
No, that's exactly
Oh, do you mean coming back from which aspect?
Just
of it?
in general, in general, coming from
moving back to the U.S. and it was just a lot at once.
What's the next? What was the hardest thing about starting this new chapter?
The most difficult thing was that I was so happy. And I had to start over here. So I moved to Qatar. I didn't know anyone. I moved there without knowing that I would know someone, is maybe a better way to put it. Because when I got there, I was lucky that... So I moved in 2017, I think it was. But years prior, I went on an exchange trip for a week. And I happened to meet a few people that were freshman students at the time. and then just had gotten jobs. I guess Sharjeel, like they had just gotten jobs maybe a year or two out of college at CMU. Mm-hmm. So they like were there. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, anywho, like there were randomly one or two people that I vaguely knew at one point.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I didn't know absolutely anyone. So moving there, like I had to start over, meet people. The first semester sucked for sure. Like sucked up and down. And then it just got and then it just got better and better. So like the second year was amazing, like overall. And thinking back on the fact that like if I didn't have to, if there wasn't, like there was no reason I left in a sense except for grad school. And like the position I had was kind of done, but like I never would have chosen to leave when you think about it. Like the only reason I left is because like, you know, I kind of had to take this step at some point in my career to go to grad school, back to grad school. The position had like run out. So it was like a weird sense that like I was so happy and honestly wouldn't have chosen to leave now that I think about it, which I guess I didn't think about so right now. So I think it was that I was so happy and like comfortable, like figured life out, was good about that, and then had to move to a totally new place. Yeah. Like and start over. Like I had just done it 2 years ago, and you're like, I again now I know 0 people for sure. Mm-hmm. I got lucky that a few friends had gone here before. Yeah. So they could like, even that, like it felt nice to just like my friend David just said like, oh, go to these 2 restaurants or something. Right. So that when I got here, I wasn't like a lost little baby. Like I was like, oh, I can go to this place. Yeah. Because I get stressed out when I go to a new restaurant for the first time.
I know. You never know what to do. You don't know if you paid for the check.
Isn't it? Like, why do we not talk about this? Because some people go so comfortably. I'm like, why are you not freaking out inside like I am? Okay. That's also how I feel about public transportation. Because you're not like, do you pay here? Like, can you pay with cash? Yeah. Is everyone going to frown upon you if you pay with cash? Like, that kind of thing? Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. Also, on the buses in Iowa City, like, you don't know where to sit. Like,
what do you mean?
Like, do you sit in the front of the bus or do you go to the back? Because there's like a certain bus culture here that like you
what are you talking about?
No, it's serious. Like
I don't take the bus, but Leah does.
You get on the bus and it's expected of you to walk to the back so you can fill in as you go.
Yeah, I thought that was like an international standard.
I've never taken the bus before.
So was that your hardest transition from undergrad?
Because I would sit
City
in the
living
handicap spot until I realized that was not where you should sit.
Leah.
Yeah, I was. Ugh. But no, that makes sense. Like, because 2 years in Qatar, that's not a long time when you think about it.
Correct.
But you established yourself so much there.
Yeah.
That having to leave that and come to it.
Yeah, right. Like, and I like no offense, Iowa. Like.
Hey, okay. I actually was talking to someone today about how Iowa is underrated. Everyone who's listening.
No, I agree.
Great.
But
it's really great. It's not as diverse culturally, and the weather sucks, and there's really no natural.
Yeah, I think that's it. I really feel that. Like, I feel the nature thing.
I think that's the hardest part, but it's still a really great place because, especially where we are, like having all the young professionals from the hospitals, the schools, everything. Like everyone's just here. Yeah, but
I think I realized I don't love. I had never been. Was Worcester a college town?
Very small. Like, it was, yeah, no. Like, we had, like, 3 restaurants and, like, a bar.
But, like, what I mean, you know, like, was it like this in the sense that, like, the city is the college?
No.
No?
We were off on our own.
Yeah, so, like, here, like, that college life thing here, like, I don't love that.
It's almost like you can never escape.
Yeah, like Iowa is the University of Iowa. Like, Iowa City, I mean, rather. Yeah. But I was talking to someone, because growing up in Pennsylvania, like, state college is a big thing, which that, to me, is the epitome of college town. Mm-hmm. This is better because there's some industries, like the standardized test thing.
ACT.
Yeah, so there's some actual things here that are not the school that have jobs. Yeah. So I guess it's a little bit better. Yeah. But it still is like go Hawks all the time.
Yeah, bleed black and gold.
I bleed black and gold. So that's also a difference. Like I'm very, 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 very glad I didn't do it for undergrad.
Oh my god, I would have dropped out.
100%. I really believe that.
I do too. Yeah, it's crazy. Even in our like classes, just like the culture.
Yeah, what about it? What do you not like? The like. And granted, like we're happy that we're here, all that jazz, right? Like,
I do love the university as a graduate student. As an undergraduate student, I don't think that I could do it mainly because I'm just biased because I did go to a small school, so I really can't see anything other than that. So I guess if this is all you know, I'm sure it's wonderful. Like, it's great. But, like, if you went to a smaller school and you had smaller classes and you had
that's what you're saying.
blah, you know, like, I just think it would be really hard to get the kind of attention that you want and just the kind of small atmosphere that you would want in a little college town. But, like, also here there's, like, so many opportunities. So it's like, I don't know, you know? And there's so many
there's definitely
people.
ups and downs. But you're right, like, in the sense that, like, to them, this is college.
Yeah.
Which I get. It's just the perspective of anyone who goes somewhere, wherever you go first, right?
Right.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And it's a weird culture. I thought about, like, undergrads. It's great to go to a smaller school, but then for grad school, you kind of have to go to bigger schools because that's where the money is.
Right.
Like, it's a weird dichotomy of that.
Yeah. Because I was in R1 school.
What does that mean? I don't know what
I always say, I was in R1 school, Big Ten R1 school to, like, make it sound
Is
impressive.
it the same as D1 but research? Is there
Yeah.
R3?
No. I think that's just a shitty college. No, I'm just kidding.
Then what's this, like...
R1 means it's, like, I believe it's, like...
Oh, is it a certain, like, dollar amount or something like that?
I think so. No, I think it's more of you have these certain either programs or facilities that make you R1. Or something like that.
Isn't it sad I'm 80 years old and I didn't even know that existed?
Well, okay, so I thought Big Ten. So I was a Big Ten school, right? I didn't know that Big Ten was sports. I thought Big Ten
really?
was like, they have this certain ranking in terms. I thought it was all academic. I was like, yeah, guys, I go to a Big Ten school. And then people were like, okay, like, but turns out it's not academic at all.
Yeah, it's
all sports.
Yeah, it is. I didn't think about it. I thought it might be some other, but you're right. It's all sports.
Yeah.
I guess I knew it because of Penn State. That's the only reason I knew it. But the Ohio State is part of the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. Do you not?
I thought Ohio State was, like, just a really, really good school.
Oh, shit.
It's Big Ten, yeah. I mean, it is still a good school, but...
Yeah, I've heard it's a good one. I didn't... Right?
Yeah.
Especially for, like, grad programs, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, it's really... It ranks higher than Iowa.
In terms of... See, I want to... But, like, does that mean anything? Like, did you look at rankings at all?
Yeah, I did. That's why I chose Iowa. Besides...
Really?
Instead of Colorado, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I only did it based off of the people.
Yeah.
Wait, which one? Colorado?
No, Colorado.
That just seems... I think that school's not real. I'm pretty sure it's not. We both applied to it. Did you get the email that was, like, confetti or something? Like,
I got confetti. Yeah, I got confetti.
It was so
I thought that was so
weird.
cute.
No, that was so, like...
I think the thing that turned me off with them was they couldn't afford to fly me out to visit.
Yeah, they were
And,
like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah,
and I was like,
why,
excuse me?
You don't have money for that? Like, that's kind of what made me... Like, Iowa has all the funds to be able to do that, which you want to go to a program that has enough money.
Yeah, you don't want to be stressed about it.
So that was, like, the first red flag. Was like, oh, they don't even have enough money to fly me out. Like, how are they going to have enough money to support me?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I did look at rankings. Iowa's pretty good. It ties with Dartmouth.
In just chemistry?
Yeah.
But that's not a good reflection on chem ed at all, right?
Because,
So it doesn't make sense. And even, like... You know, especially for grad school, like, if there was the one person here that does this, like, one niche thing and is, like, the best person, that's not going to reflect in the whole program.
Exactly.
So
that's what everyone told me when I was applying, because, like, I have always been one of those people who's, like, I want to go names. Like, and I hate that about myself, but, like, that's just how it is.
America does it to us.
In grad school, no matter what you're doing, it really doesn't matter the name as long as you have the PI, the advisor, who does the research and who you can, like, it's really PI based. But at least for chemistry, like, I don't know about other disciplines, but, like, that's what
I never thought about it in other disciplines. You're right.
Like, I can't remember. I forget who I was talking. Oh, law school, for example. Law school, like, it matters where you go. Like, the name matters.
Oh, okay.
But, like, for a doctor...
That's why Elle Woods went to Harvard.
Yeah. Not like it's hard. Yeah. I think that...
Have I seen that movie? I don't know if I've seen it.
Have you not?
I think I've seen it.
You cannot even say that if you hadn't seen the movie.
No, but it's one of those things, like, I think this happens nowadays that you can have... Like, there's a lot of movies I've never seen, but I know a lot about because okay, it's my own fault. Too many fucking BuzzFeed articles where they're like... right?
Take BuzzFeed quizzes.
No, I don't do quizzes. Yes. I draw the line at
what
quizzes.
What kind of bread are you?
I do not do quizzes.
Yes, he does.
Sometimes on a sad day, I will do the like trivia ones, like
Okay.
when they're like, "You're not a real Arrested Development fan." I'm like, I think I am.
Back the fuck up. I am.
And yeah, that's the rabbit hole. Anywho, but yeah, you can like learn so much about a thing and have never seen it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I've seen it once. Anyhow.
No, you're pretty good at like pop culture.
It's
But not pop culture, but like you're pretty good at like knowing things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we probably should get back to the why are we doing this podcast?
Oh yeah.
I think it was your idea first, right?
Yeah. So
I think it means you have to answer.
So.
Yeah. What was the first thought? Like, why did you want to do it?
Okay, so like before I start talking about it, I do want to preface
Oh my god.
Preface that I am very, very happy like where we are, and I am very thankful to be where I am, and I think that we have such a great opportunity here at Iowa, and overall it's been a really great experience so far. So I just want to preface that. But there are some problems within our higher education system and graduate school especially that I think are not talked about, that need to be talked about. And so I remember I was listening to a podcast actually that Kevin sent me, that you sent me. Are we talking should I say Kevin or should I say you?
I think that's a weird one. I don't know about that. You could say Kevin.
Okay, so
once we build a huge following, you could just say you, I think.
Once we get sponsored. So Kevin sent me a podcast about, it was the one you sent me about
the
math education.
One? Yeah.
And one of the lines in there actually was they said, okay, nowadays the way you reach people is through podcasts. Like people don't read the news as much anymore. They don't like podcast, social media, like that's how you reach people.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I remember that.
I was like, oh my gosh, like I would really love to start a podcast on just chatting about graduate school, chemistry, life, like all that. So like I guess that's really how it came about.
Was that really the first time you thought about it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
When I heard the way that you reach people nowadays is through things like this.
Go, Kevin.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is Kevin's the reason that No, that was because that was the one. It was a Freakonomics, and he was like talking about how he wrote a paper that he was like so happy about, and he's like 6 people fucking read it.
Yeah.
But then you do a random podcast, and then like 100,000 people listen to it. I get that.
Yeah, like and I think it came to me also with chemistry education, whereas like it is a lot to read a paper. Like it does take a lot of brain power to read a scientific paper.
Especially if it sucks.
Yeah, which is a lot of that's the topic for a different day. But like reading a paper is a lot. And so if you could just
and also really it's only like a niche. Like who reads J Chem Ed? Us. Like no one's
exactly. And like you want to be able to reach the most people, especially when we're talking about things like graduate school, like the problems people face, because it's something that like I think people just are like, oh, graduate school sucks, and then they leave it at that and don't talk about it. But like I think it's important to just like talk it out and like why does it suck? Why are people having negative feelings towards it all the time? Because I think I also noticed, and I think you noticed this too, is like coming into graduate school, we had a lot of people telling us you're gonna hate it and like you're gonna be miserable and it's gonna be the worst thing in your entire life, blah blah blah.
But you'll get through it. Like that was
There was like it was really just it wasn't like, oh, like just make sure you're being happy, make sure you're following your passions. It was never anything positive.
Yeah.
It was always like, oh, just wait till next year, or like, ugh, like
comps are coming up.
Yeah. Like it was just, and I'm like, can we talk about why people are so negative all the time? In STEM especially, because Shelly is in a great program and she says people aren't as negative there, so like maybe it's a STEM thing.
We have about 2 friends and one of them is Shelly.
Yep.
Just so
Shout out to Shelly and Megan. Hey.
And Shelly's in a happy program full of happy people that don't have to do this.
Yeah.
She's in music therapy.
Not musical
therapy. Musical therapy. She sent me this one image. I forget what it was. It was supposed to highlight the difference. Maybe I'll dig it up again. I think that's the part I latched onto.
Yes.
Because I think it is this, and maybe I felt it too, like this has been building up for years, because at CMU there was that same kind of thing of like, I hate you so much.
Okay,
but yeah, like there was, so we had this, there was a lot of talk at CMU about stress culture and just like, it's tough, all that jazz.
Right.
And there would always be, like during orientation, we did this one event called Community Collage, which I really liked. It was generally people come in and talk about like their experiences. There were some dance performances, different things. It was really cool. A lot of speeches, and the speeches were always like, it sucked, but I got through it. And you're like, what? How is that helping me? What do you say? Like, it just, and I feel like it's so in my head, it's almost been building up for years about that thing. And then at grad school, it continues to be the same thing because maybe I thought it was a CMU thing or, yeah, whatever. It just bothers me that they don't,
I think,
or like don't try to do anything about it in a sense. Because some of it is like kind of, it's us making it up. And just perpetuating it, like, and we reinforce it. So, like, you have someone who says this random, like that. When you think about it, makes who cares? Yeah. Like, it's just all of it's made up anyway. Like, why? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that bothers me is that, like, things like that. It's like you talk to people and they're like, "Yeah, it sucks, but I got through it." But
what?
That's not. That's like I don't.
Cool.
Like, I don't understand. Like, why can't we take a step back and talk about why it sucked rather than just the fact that, so you're miserable for 4 years and then you got through it? Like, and then also, like, the fact that, so, like, you were just talking about how you talk about stress culture. And I think here, a lot in graduate school, we talk about, like, mental health culture and, like, just having positive mental health. And they implement these things, like in my undergrad, they had, like, during exam week, they would have, like, these like mental health workshops where we would go and like make flower pots and shit. Like, it was nice, but like, why are we? It's like you're covering up.
Yeah. I think a lot of things like that are almost Band-Aid solutions. Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, it's like we're so okay. Yeah, so you're implementing some resources for XYZ, but you're not.
What about the
getting,
cause?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like
that's the problem I have with graduate school.
Yeah, and I guess maybe it's a lot of it's from the fact that the PI designates so much. Like, we're very lucky. I think Dr. Becker's, she's great. Yeah, like, amazing. She acknowledges the fact that, you should have a life.
Yep.
And I think some of that comes with, there are, maybe a big reason Chem gets it a lot is because it's lab-based.
Yeah.
And when you're running reactions and things like that, totally. I guess you're on a timeline in some sense, but it definitely doesn't need to be that bad.
Yeah. And, I mean, I do have like a lot of respect for people who are doing lab research because like we both did organic research in undergrad and like you had to really plan out your time right because reactions can take any time from like an hour to 3 days, but like it's just like then would it be unfair that the organic people or whatever would finish slower? Like, for example, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is like we don't have as much lab. We don't have any lab to dedicate ourselves to. So we essentially can focus on things like writing and like all that. Like, we don't have to do that extra time to go into the lab.
But like, we have the interviews and everything like that. Like,
so we still have like, but a lot of that we don't have to like come in and dedicate our time like in a certain space, you know what I mean? I think that's what makes it harder because like on weekends, like that's the time that they can go in and have the time.
Yeah.
We necessarily don't have to go. Like we're doing, I believe we're doing equal amount of work, but it's the difference in like when you can do that work. I think is what makes it harder. I don't know.
I'd push back a little bit, but I don't have a way to articulate that right now.
That's fair.
Because I think they're all babies. No, not really, but like, definitely like.
But I remember in undergrad, I had to go in on the weekends to run reactions because that was the only time I had to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, on top of an undergrad schedule, I could see that. I guess when I was doing like upper level, like higher up in my undergrad, I didn't have as many classes, so I was more like I could do a Wednesday and Friday, like the whole day, effectively. Yeah. So I was essentially working for that day. But our reactions were usually either like overnight or I think it was often like 8 hours.
Yeah, but
I forget. Oh, it was
that's
so
still
long
time
ago.
to dedicate to go into a lab.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, I think... So, I guess my main point is that, like, it's hard to balance your time when you have certain things that are so...
Yeah.
time-sensitive. That's why I think graduate students get in such a pickle, because they have so many responsibilities that they can only do at a certain time.
Yeah.
In science.
I guess maybe the reason I like don't think that deeply about it is because like you signed up for this. like they knew this was going to happen. You know what I mean? I think that's what
Correct.
kind of bothers me. So in my head I was more thinking about like the whole attitude. I think that's what bothers me. Like, yeah, that sucks. You're right. Like
Yeah.
on paper, yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But like, you knew this was gonna happen. It's not like you showed up at the first day of work. You're
And
like,
you're like,
what? This is what I have to do. Like you knew that was kind of coming.
I know.
So I think maybe what I'm think more about in the general scheme is that I think
people
it's
just like to complain.
yeah, like it's sad that like yeah, it sucks. But I think it's sad that that's all they can talk about, and therefore they make it seem worse than it is. Like, we're still getting paid to become the most educated people in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, no, at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of the world, that's the answer.
But
We're getting paid.
I love when you say that because, like, I have used that phrase a lot since I've met you because it is true. Like, don't do that. Because it is true. Like, we are getting paid, but at the same time, it's like, just because we're getting paid to get a degree, which is amazing, and we're so fortunate to be in that position, it still doesn't mean that we can be treated.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and it's a slippery slope for sure.
It is a slippery slope. It needs to be, like, unpacked a lot. And, like, it's not something that, like, I don't think is very, like, you can't understand it.
Yeah,
really.
yeah, that's true.
But
I agree.
I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
What if we get an organic person in here and they're like, I live the happiest life ever, guys. I don't know
we
where
should.
Well, good luck finding one of those people.
No, it is tough. And it is tough, I think, being in a program that has so many different types of research that it's like, it's really cool to see the difference in how people spend their time. But it also is like, it makes things a little, I mean, to me, it like makes things a little more competitive. Like, how much time is this person putting in? And like Kat is in our lab, in the Becker lab. She always told me the amount of work, like the amount of time you spend in the office does not mean you're successful. So like,
yeah, that's really true.
She's taught me that like, you need to, like, what you put in is what you get out, but don't overdo it to make it seem like you're doing more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, I don't know. It's a lot. But that's kind of basically.
That was it. That was the whole thing about 1 minute.
That was why.
Everyone keeps complaining about it, and we just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, I think it's just an attitude shift of accepting. Yes, it's. I don't want to say like yes, it's gonna suck, but like it's going to be difficult. But like you signed up for this, you kind of knew it was coming. Like you should be prepared. There's ways to get around it, all that jazz. I think that's what the kind of goal is, and like talking about.
And let's be honest, like complaining is so easy. It's so fun. It's like the one thing that you have in common with someone when you're in a position like this. Like with a lot of people in the chemistry department, the things we talk about most is just complaining about our lives.
That's true.
And it's the easy way. It's like an easy social, like go out for drinks, complain about chemistry. Like it's just easy.
Oh my god.
What?
You're right. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. Like
You're right. Yeah.
I talked to two people who are in the department at the very beginning of the year. And, like, they literally prefaced, like, their introduction to me. They're like, hi, I'm so-and-so and so-and-so. Like, we've been in the same lab. And I'm like, oh, like, what do you guys do for fun? And they're like, oh, complain, go out for drinks and complain. Like, that's literally...
And you're like, sure.
Like, that's literally exactly what they said. And then that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like, really, people do complain. Like, a lot.
And I think it's even perpetuated, like, when I think about... My least favorite thing in the entire world is when someone's like, oh, what do you do? And I have to be like, oh, chemistry. Like, and then we eventually get to, like, grad school, and they're like, oh, that must be hard. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? How do I answer that? Like, sure, yeah, but, like, but that's just highlighting that the grander people also reinforce the fact that it's hard. Correct. So then people kind of want to cater to that and be like, yeah, it is really hard. Like, listen to me complain about all the things that are difficult and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So maybe there's no point in this. Maybe there's no way we're going to change anything.
I don't know if the goal is to change it. I think the goal is to just bring awareness and just, like, talk it through.
Yeah.
Like, unpack
this is mostly going to be therapeutic for us,
totally.
And then that'll be it.
But like, I want to have people on here who have different perspectives.
Yeah, I think, different thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Because I think something that pushed me a lot was, like, looking at Shelley and how, happy, enjoying her program she is. Mm-hmm. That made me start to question, like, oh, is it PhDs in general? Is it STEM? Is it chem specifically? Is it lab versus not? I think that's, to me, maybe if there was, like, one, let's come up with a research goal. So if there's one research question.
Specific, measurable.
Someone, I swear to God, I was listening to something, and they said, that's a SMART goal. And I said,
Wait, you sent me a video today of Hank.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
He said SMART goal.
He said SMART goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, that's measurable. Ugh. Anywho. Yeah, I think my goal is like to figure out what it is about certain programs that makes it this way. Mm-hmm. Like I think about my friend Pia who did a PhD in...
Was she the one at UPenn or Princeton?
No, Danielle's at Princeton.
Yeah,
She studies dirt.
That's right.
She's in chemistry. Oh, now I feel really bad. Because I don't know what her PhD was technically in. I'm going to go with writing, or it was English writing,
okay, yeah.
and I know I sound like I'm minimizing.
No.
That's what I sound like. But she did a lot of like second language, I know this, SLA, second language acquisition research. Uh-huh. But I realized I never really talked to her about like what was her grad school experience like. Did it suck as much? Because that'd be like a data point of, ugh. But yeah, she did like English type one, so I wonder if it's there. Is it just PhD? Is it because Shelley said the PhD students, because I think there's 2 PhD students in music therapy. Yep. She said they're happy as a clams too, you know? Yeah.
But okay, so maybe there is a difference between disciplines, but I am on this Facebook group called Grad School like memes or something like that. It's like a grad school meme, and it's like
is that what they do? Do they have grad school memes in it?
And like there's like thousands of people in this meme group. Yeah. And it's from all over the world, and like people from every discipline post memes every day about like complaining and like.
Oh, I see. So you think it's more?
I do think it's just a higher education. I think it's a higher education thing. Post college. Like I think it's just people in graduate school. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it because I originally going into graduate school, I was like, I'm not going to be that person who complains about anything because I'm just so thankful to be here. And that's still true. But I think that is a little bit toxic because you're allowed to have problems and you're allowed to feel a certain way. Yeah. So.
But it's also difficult to not. Because you're right. I think it's easy to fall into it.
Yeah.
Because I think you highlighted the social aspect. I think that's an important thing. Like, in order to be friends with the other people, that's kind of what you do.
Right.
Which is sad.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How come you say graduate school and not grad school?
Do I do that? Graduate school?
Every time I'm like, maybe this time I should say grad. But every time you say graduate.
If you go back in this recording, I say grad school.
You say graduate school every single time.
Do I really?
I swear to God.
I do.
I noticed also you don't say I'm just kidding anymore. Because I was texting it to you the other day. And I realized I was like, oh no, did she stop because I pointed it out?
No.
Maybe you just don't kid anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe you stop making jokes.
I actually offend people now rather than just... No.
Anywho, no, that's for a different topic.
I'm just kidding.
We did have a question we were going to get to, but I don't know if we're going to get to it.
What was it?
Why are you in grad school? Sorry. Why are you in graduate school?
I mean...
Do you think you really had the time? But do you think you really thought about it? How long did you think about it?
I've wanted to go to graduate school since I was like a kid. It's been on my bucket list.
How is that possible, though?
Because my father was a professor.
Okay.
And so I've always been, and like I look up to my dad so much. So like, I was like, I want to be a professor, and like there's like I want to have a doctorate, and I want to, and like now I'm second guessing that, but like, I still.
Great work, Dad.
But like I've wanted to go past undergrad for as long as I can remember.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
good
like
for you.
Like you were saying, like, and a lot of other people in the program, and like our friends say, yeah, I didn't really think about it until recently, and like that is crazy to me.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. Like, how do you just go to graduate school for like?
It's an easy way out.
5 years. Like, is it like that's?
No, for sure.
It
I
definitely
think so.
is, but like.
Granted, that's in like chem, maybe science disciplines. I mean, it's an easy way out in the sense that you get a measly stipend for some number of years and you become a PhD. So like it's almost like if you don't know what you're going to do and you've done some research as an undergrad, might as well. And you're good at writing, you do a personal statement. Like, sadly, as sad as it is, because that's what like, so when I recently found my high school to-do list that I made when I was a senior in high school.
Which was like
300 years ago. And I put like get a PhD, and like I think that was just because I had started to like that's when higher education came into my life. You know, I was thinking about college and whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to get a PhD. It was definitely ego. Like when I was 18 years old, punk.
I think everyone has a little bit of ego there though still.
Yeah. But then when I got to school, like especially at CMU, like you're surrounded by people that are trying to do good things.
Yeah.
and like achieve in life.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I haven't, I guess. But I was just like, oh yeah, grad school is the answer. Like, yeah, grad school. Like, because I knew, okay, so in chem, you're like, it mostly, I think, splits into 3. Med school, grad school, industry. And I was like, not selling my soul to industry.
Yeah.
Not going to med school.
There's grad
So
school.
grad school. So that's honest. And that's like as much as the thought process I had until I was a senior. And then I freaked out and was like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to like...
So why weren't you ready? Like, what constitutes not being ready for graduate school?
I think part of it was commitment, maybe. And I think that was probably the bigger thing is that I really, really did not love the research I was doing. So when I was a senior, I got into an organic, like heavy, straight organic synthesis.
Yeah,
like
I remember your thesis title.
My thesis title was
crazy shit, like
synthesis of diphenylthiophene dioxides and synthesis and characterization of ortho-substituted diphenylthiophene dioxides and considerations on electronic effects or something like that. I recently just read it and I was like, why is it 3 sentences long? Anywho. Yeah, so it was like straight organic synthesis and like I synthesized this yellow powder, like that much of it.
2 seconds, yeah.
I ran 1 million columns and I just didn't
it wasn't bringing you fulfillment
like in any sense of the word. And like he was a great research advisor.
Yeah.
The group was pretty fine. Like I don't think it was any of them.
Right.
It was just like, I couldn't find the fulfillment in it. So I kind of freaked out and was like, I can't do this for 5 years. Like that was, I think, definitely senior year. I was like, I know that I want to teach. I still knew that then. I wanted to be a professor. So I knew I had to get it. But at that stage, I was still in the like, I'm not going to spend my 5 fruitful young years in grad school. So that's why I chickened out.
Do you think that I'm in my 5 fruitful young years and I'm in graduate school and I'm going to...
Yeah, I guess so. No, I mean, it makes sense for some people and I'm like glad... Yeah, it's different for every person, for sure.
Isn't it crazy that I'm going to graduate at the age that you are now?
Stop. Right there.
No, but I think that's just...
It is, and it's sad because I was thinking, I just visited my friend Danielle in Princeton. She started right after undergrad. I didn't. I'm like, so now I'm a first year and she's about to wrap up. I'm like, that's weird that like... Yeah. We were at the same stages of our career and she's almost done and I just got my toes wet. Yeah,
it's crazy. And like, people in our department, like, I would say the majority of people are like past 25.
Is it that? Are you saying just our year or total? Like, is our year older? It seems like
they're older.
Like, more of the upper years came right out of undergrad, you're saying? Is what I think, too. No? Am I crazy?
Oh, yeah. I think our cohort, I think I'm, if not the youngest.
You're one of, like, 2 or 3 youngest, yeah.
Because, yeah, a lot of people either took time off, went to industry, they're just older, like, and that's just crazy. Like, maybe I shouldn't be spending my prime time baddie years in graduate school.
But how else are you going to meet other smart baddies?
I don't know. Like,
just so you know, we've been talking for 48 minutes.
Oh, should we stop?
That's it, guys.
I mean,
guys.
bye, folks.
Leah's afraid of saying guys because it's 2020.
Because that's a thing.
I know. I do feel bad because I internally don't associate any sort of gender thing with it.
I don't either.
But I always say it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, hey, guys. Like, I would never think twice about it. Maybe I'm the problem.
You are the problem. When I was...
I'm a white male.
Yeah. You guys, if you didn't know.
If you could check any privilege box... Check. Did I tell you I once took a test?
Yeah.
I failed real hard. Actually, no, I lied. I aced it, if you will.
Yeah.
Anywho.
I think I would ace it. Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, so when I taught in Denver, we had an entire day's workshop of, like, how you address students, and saying guys is not appropriate anymore, apparently. Like,
really?
Yeah, and I did it all the time.
Yeah.
This year and with my lab.
Yeah, because it's hard as if you grew up with it. That's a really hard thing to change.
Yeah.
To just say that I'm gonna start changing the way I reference. Yeah, that's just difficult. Yeah,
okay, guys. Like I said,
if I counted, I'd probably if I had a nickel every time.
Oh my god, laundry money. Like I feel like over the summer I would say, hey team, like to my students because they were younger. Like that's cute, you know, hey team, or like hey folks.
To
but,
give
like,
them a responsibility, fake responsibility.
I can't say hey team to my undergrad students like who are.
You could.
That'd be weird. They would be like, who are you?
Oh, TAing's gonna be a whole day. Oh, I'm so excited for that discussion. I think I just decided, like, in my head, I thought this was going to be, like, applicable to the wider audience. And now I'm realizing it's just therapeutic for us. This is a totally selfish endeavor. We're just, like, however 5 people watch this, it'll be helpful. It'll only be helpful to us.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Cool. That's how all podcasts start, right? Like, just 2 people in a dream.
We just got to find our brand and, just dig into it. Did your brother ever make...
No. I told him he had a deadline because he was like, I need a deadline. So I think I told him like by like Tuesday or something. But he's starting his new job, so like I don't want to ask him. I feel like we could come up with a pretty good one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I think, and this sounds so cheesy, but like we should do an element.
No,
and then have our initials in there.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
That's how I feel.
No.
I guess it has to be chemistry related.
Does it? Or like some academic thing. Because...
What?
Like a pencil. Or like, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Actually, no,
like,
you know what? I scoffed at that real quick. I kind of like the pencil idea.
Because I kind of want to put our initials together, like L and K. K and L. Kale.
Kale.
Hey, Kale.
We can have my friend Kale on this.
Oh my god, never mind. So,
Wow, we are doing so well at talking to each other that she forgot there's a microphone. And almost said some embarrassing story. Maybe next time.
Okay.
Should we wrap up? Probably.
Yeah, we should wrap up.
What's next week's topic? I guess, did we talk about why are we making this podcast? I think we did that.
Yeah.
And why do we feel the need to drop out?
We did not feel.
We did not
talk about that. Maybe that is next week.
That could be next week.
So this was more
that was definitely in the moment. I don't feel as much that way now. I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely.
The dropping out? Okay.
I think before
it's flashes.
I think overall, I don't think any of us, at least like you and me, have no intention of actually dropping out.
Yeah.
But there are points where we question why we're there.
Yeah. Which I think is natural.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe that's...
I think we need to reframe the question as why do we question, or like maybe like why are we not 100, like why are we not fully happy, or what things we're missing.
Yeah, because that's probably the larger scope of the whole podcast. Now that I think about it, is like what are the moments, like, because the moments in which we think about that are usually the like, come on guys kind of thing. Okay, what do we want to talk about and who do we want to reach?
Did we answer that question? I don't think we answered any of our questions.
I think we did okay. I would say this is I don't know. I think this is almost for some sort of validation to other grad students, like just having some sort of platform to be like, oh, like other people are thinking about this and at least trying to talk about it. I think that's something that would be a goal of this, is that people can take aspects that we talk about or with the guests we have on. That makes it sound real legit. It's not going to be that legit. But we might have some guest people.
Gosh, can we invite Dr. Becker here?
To my little home?
Yeah.
With my Lego castle? Can we do an episode that's a tour of my Lego castle?
Oh my gosh,
yeah, so I think my goal is that if another grad student were to listen to this, they like either resonate with some aspect of it, or they can use what we talk about or the guest talks about and apply it to their life, or like, I don't know, maybe start talking about it in their school. Right. That's a lofty goal.
I think like the goal is to just bring awareness and to promote discussion.
Yeah.
And it's therapy for us.
Mostly that.
Okay.
I think by the end of this we'll have degrees in
psychology.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think amazing. All right.
Amazing, wonderful. Can that be our intro? We also need to figure out an intro song. So far we have nothing done for this. We need a logo, we need an intro song, and we need a way to figure out to put this on YouTube. Oh, you have a YouTube account, right?
Yeah, but I probably wouldn't.
Oh, should we make it? We could make a little Gmail. Yeah. We can have little questions from the fan. So far, I think Shelly's going to be the only one to listen to this, and she'll mostly be excited because her name's dropped a couple times.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to listen to the whole thing.
You're probably right.
Scroll. And just like, she's going to control F Shelly.
Can you do that?
If you transcribe it, I don't know, maybe. I don't think she's going to listen to the whole thing.
You don't think she's going to listen to the whole thing, but she'll transcribe it.
No, I think she would. She's a homie.
Do you have a sign off?
Yeah. All right. This is what we say. So when I was little, I had my own.
You're kidding. You already had this planned?
I had my news. I had a news station when I was little. It was called the 518 News, and like the 5 o'clock news, but it was 518 because I was trying to be cute. So.
I thought it was like because you lived in the 518.
No, I live in the 513. Kevin spells Cincinnati wrong, by the way.
Who knows how to spell that city?
So this is what you do. So you have like the news statement, like da 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 da. This is Leah Charlotte, 518 News, signing off. No, it's ended. Okay.
She waved, by the way. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Who am I talking to?